And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the season debut of Tornado Talk, inside look at Brevard College athletics, all the news and happenings surrounding the Tornadoes. And we'll be here throughout the season on Monday nights at 7 p.m. here at Dugan's Pub, 29 West French Broad Street in Brevard, North Carolina. Appreciate you tuning in, whether it be on Facebook Live, on YouTube, on SoundCloud for the audio version, or here in person at Dugan's Pub. I want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. We have an exciting show tonight to kick off the 2019-2020 season. We'll talk a lot of women's soccer on tonight's show, starting with the three captains of the 2019 team, Audrey Cardwell, Sally Riggin, and Hannah Weatherall. Look forward to talking to those three women's soccer student athletes. Then we'll hear from the coaching staff of the Tornadoes women's soccer program. Head coach Juan Mascaro and assistant coaches Chelsea Shaughnessy and Ashley Hughes. We'll talk a little volleyball with student athletes Sydney Fox and Madriana Rodriguez. The commissioner of the USA South Conference, the conference that the Tornadoes compete in, will be here at Dugan's Pub later tonight. Dr. Tom Hart, he'll be a guest on the program. And then we'll wrap up tonight's show with Brevard College Director of Athletics, Miranda Nash. So thanks again for joining us as we take a close look into all the happenings with Brevard College athletics. Now, we'll recap a lot of what happened over the summer with Miranda Nash later in the program, but do want to get you up to date what's been going on these last couple weeks at Brevard College in the world of Tornado athletics. First of all, most teams are still in the middle of their preseasons. Practices underway, training camps underway, preseason games, exhibitions, scrimmages, things of that nature. However, one Tornado team kicked off their regular season with the season opener for mountain bikes. That's right. The much acclaimed Brevard College Tornadoes cycling program got started on the mountain bikes this weekend. They were in Georgia for an event hosted by Georgia Tech, the Ramblin' Race Weekend, and some big results for the Tornadoes as 8 podium finishes for Brevard College cyclists in the mountain bike competition hosted by Georgia Tech, including 2 wins by Carson Beckett. He wins in men's A cross country and men's A short track cross country. Other podium finishes included Ryan Johnson with a 3rd place finish, Hannah Rensman with a 2nd place finish and a 3rd place finish, Emma Schwab with a 3rd place finish, Nathan St. Clair finishes 3rd, Lucas Pound 2nd. All in all, 8 podium finishes for those Tornadoes on the mountain bikes. Football preseason practice began last Thursday. The team's hard at work preparing for the season, including a intense workout that's going on right now over on the campus of Brevard College. And we invited the football folks over to the show tonight, but they said they were too busy preparing for the 2019 season. Understood, because this weekend is a scrimmage after just starting practice last week. This Saturday at Brevard Memorial Stadium, the Tornadoes will host Southern Virginia in a scrimmage that starts at noon. The regular season opener is still a little ways away. Saturday, September 14th versus Apprentice, 1 p.m. at Brevard Memorial Stadium. Men's soccer, a exhibition match over the weekend, a 1-0 win over Guilford, a goal by Venetia's Giannichini, and combined shutout by goalkeepers Patrick Hall and Pedro Campos. We'll have a special edition of Tornado Talk to talk all things men's soccer this Thursday at 2 p.m. from the campus of Brevard College, where we'll talk to head coach El Dana and his staff, along with several student athletes. The regular season opener is this coming weekend for the Tornadoes as they go to Mount Berry, Georgia, for a invitational that begins on Saturday this weekend. The home opener for the Tornadoes men's soccer team, if you want to mark your calendar, September 14th, 3 p.m. versus Covenant at Ives Lamel Family Field. Volleyball opens their season this weekend in Birmingham, Alabama, with a event known as the Birmingham Southern Mac Attack Bash. That's a tournament being hosted by Birmingham Southern. The Tornadoes will be in action on Friday and Saturday in Birmingham. We'll talk to a couple of those volleyball student athletes later in the show. Regular season home opener a week from this Thursday, September 5th versus Emory and Henry at the Boshemer Gymnasium. Hope to see you there. Cross country, preparing for their season opener. That's Friday, September 6th in Greenville, Tennessee. Women's tennis as well as men's tennis have a fall schedule that they're preparing for. Women's tennis opens on September 7th in Sweetbriar, Virginia, and men's tennis opens on Tuesday, September 10th at the McCoy Tennis Complex along with the women's team versus Piedmont. That's 3 p.m. And that brings us to women's soccer, and looking forward to our first three guests of tonight's show as they make their way over here to the Coach's Corner at Dugan's Pub. Looking forward to talking to these three student athletes. As making their way into the Coach's Corner now, Hannah Weatherall, Sally Riggin, and Audrey Cardwell. As women's soccer student athletes look like they're all set, look like old pros with these microphones here. Ladies, appreciate you joining Tornado Talk tonight.
We're glad to be here for sure.
Great. Well, it's great to have you all on the show. I think it's the debut appearance for all three of you on Tornado Talk.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I see one of your assistant coaches. She was a guest on the show a couple of times last year. Did she give you any pointers before heading off over here to the show, or she just said, hey,
no, she
good
just
luck?
Sent us on our way.
Yeah, they said good luck.
That's right. Well, first of all, the women's soccer season is quickly approaching in terms of regular season games. You all had a scrimmage over the weekend. You've been hard at work practicing to get ready for the season. I'd like to hear from each of you how you think preseason practice has been going so far, and are you guys going to be ready come Friday night?
I think so. I've been really impressed with the amount of energy that we have as a team. We had quite a few young players come in, but I think they've helped the dynamic for sure. Every practice has been fun, so we've been out there working really hard, but everybody leaves with a smile on their face. Everybody's giving it their all. We've unfortunately have some injuries, but even the people on the bench, they're still out there cheering for every shot, and so it's just a really nice dynamic. So I'm excited to see what we're going to do this season.
Sounds great. Similar feelings, Sally?
Yes, we have a really young team, but I'm really excited to see how we all come together on Friday night.
And Audrey, you've been around a little bit. Would you describe this preseason as particularly challenging, or has it gone pretty smoothly?
I think it's gone pretty smoothly overall, and I think the scrimmage showed that last weekend, or this past weekend. Everyone played really cohesively. It seemed like everyone was getting along and supporting each other on the field, which was really nice, and we had success, so it was really exciting.
Now, I would like to talk each of you as far as your background and also the position you play on the soccer field. And we'll start with you, Hannah, the goalkeeper. You have the benefit also of Rebecca Rojas. You guys kind of platoon in that goalkeeper position. And
Absolutely.
Both of you had big years last year. You won some USA South weekly awards. Congrats on those.
Thank you.
When did you pick up the position of goalkeeping? And is it something you've always felt at home doing?
I picked it up from a really young age, basically when you started having goalkeepers, because I just grew really fast, so I was always the biggest and the tallest one on the team, and so they said, hey, you're going to be a goalie, and so I just started, and it's something that I fell in love with. Every team that I played on, I was pretty much the only goalkeeper, and so I almost didn't have a choice, but then I just developed a love for it, and everybody always says the goalkeeper's the one on the team, but it's an awesome position, and I absolutely love it, and I'm really fortunate to have Rebecca, too. She supports me a lot.
Excellent. And now, Sally, we typically see you in the midfield.
Yes.
Has midfield been the position you've been playing most of your career?
No, last season was the first season I got thrown into the middle. I've grown up playing outside back, so that was new. But I'm really starting to enjoy it, getting used to it.
And Audrey, if my notes are correct, midfield and defense for yourself.
Yeah.
When did you pick up, the game of soccer? When did you start playing? And position-wise, where have you been most comfortable?
I started playing when I was young, just like rec soccer, and then I think I got progressively into it. So like by middle school, I was like into soccer. But at that point, I was like, only really midfield, and then started branching out more in high school of like different positions. But I really enjoy outside back.
Okay, we're going to stick with you, Audrey, because you have a important and unique role on campus.
Yes.
Student Government Association president,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Big responsibility.
Yeah.
You have begun your term as SGA president. It's
I have.
underway, right? It started with Creek Week and with the first day of classes and so forth.
Yeah.
How have things been going on campus for the student body altogether from your perspective?
I think it's been going well. Creek Week was very different this year, and I really enjoyed how it was ran, and we got to help facilitate things as well. So when I came in for Creek Week, it was like very simple. You kind of just didn't go, was the air about it. So I didn't really attend Creek Week. And this year, it was not mandatory. It was mandatory, but I felt like more people were willing to be there and really enjoying it. So that was really exciting. So it's been going well.
Great to hear. And now, Sally, you're a junior, so you arrived back in 2017. Similar to what Audrey was just saying, have there been changes you've noticed as far as the culture at Brevard College, or just kind of the overall feel of going to school here?
Yeah, I think freshmen are really starting to get more involved on campus, and BC Radar has really been helping that. And yeah.
Nice job getting that BC Radar plug in there.
Yeah,
I
that
see
was
Audrey nodding over there. And Hannah, similar question. I believe you're a wilderness leadership and experiential education major. Is that still the case?
I actually switched. That's
You
not
switched.
that's my minor now. So I'm
Sure.
actually a criminal justice major and then a Willie minor.
Okay, thanks for clarifying for that for me. But on the wilderness side, I would like, because you've taken some classes already.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Could you talk about how unique that is to Brevard College to have a program like that, and what that experience is like for the students?
Absolutely. That's kind of one of the major factors why I came to Brevard, because when I graduated high school, I had no idea what I wanted to go to college for, and people had told me, oh, go for engineering or this and that, and I toured some schools, and I just didn't have the feeling of I belonged there. And then I came to Brevard, and I mean, the area is beautiful, and I heard about the Willie program. I was like, I have never heard about a program like that. And so it's just so unique, and I love how hands-on it is, and I've just connected with all my professors. And when I tell my friends back home, yeah, my electives are rock climbing and mountain biking, they all get jealous. And so I absolutely love it. It's definitely a one-in-a-lifetime experience.
And staying on that classroom theme, Sally, what are you majoring in?
I'm an art major.
An art major.
Yes.
So could you tell folks a little bit about that, and maybe what you specialize in the art world?
Yes, so I'm a sculpture concentration, and most of my classes have 3 people in them, so it's very indulged in everything, that just very one-on-one, and learning everything and how to talk about art and what to look in and how you feel about art, and I'm loving it. So.
I love it. We talk a lot about the outdoors life here in Western North Carolina, and the Willie program and the mountain biking program and the climbing team and all these things. But a lot of folks don't realize, Brevard, North Carolina, Western North Carolina is a art and music, hub as well. And we have great programs here at Brevard College for that. So great to hear you taking part in that, Sally. Audrey, you'll be graduating this coming spring, right? What
Yeah.
will your degree be in?
I'm double majoring in environmental studies and math. So I'll have 2 degrees when I graduate.
Now that's a interesting combination of degrees there. Have you thought about career-wise what you might want to head towards with those 2 degrees?
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure. I've looked into environmental engineering, but I'm not sure if that's the track I would like to go. I'm really interested in renewable energy and things like that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, certainly a lot of opportunity in this part of the country for that as well. Would like to talk about each of your backgrounds in terms of hometown and growing up in that kind of thing. And Hannah, we'll start with you, from the state of Louisiana.
That's
correct?
right. Yes, I've grown up in Louisiana.
So being from Louisiana, how did you find Brevard College?
I wanted something completely different. I wanted to go somewhere far away. I was tired of it just always being hot all the time. So I told my mom I wanted seasons. I want to see snow. I want mountains. And so I ended up finding Brevard online. My mom actually found it, and she saw the Willie program. She was like, Hannah, you need to check this out. And so it was just something completely different than what I was used to. I was used to the swamps, and so it's a nice change here for sure.
Now, Sally, you're from within the state, but on the other side of the state, Wilmington, North Carolina, over on the coast, certainly big difference between Wilmington and here in the mountains. Same question. How'd you find Brevard?
My dad's friend actually came here whenever I was a junior college, and so I had a little bit of background with that, and I wanted something small and a good art school. And then I came and toured here, and it was incredible, and I was like, I'll get the best of both worlds with the beach and the mountains. So
Very good. And Audrey from Denver, North Carolina, so,
Yes.
Also a native from the state of North Carolina. Was this part of the state someplace that you would visit perhaps, during your childhood? And did you have an early eye on maybe getting here to the mountains?
Yeah, so during my childhood, we would actually vacation here every once in a while. It wasn't like a super regular thing, but that's kind of how I first picked up on Brevard. I had remembered it. We kind of stopped coming when I was younger, but I had remembered it. And for a while, I didn't know where I wanted to go to school, if I wanted a big school, a small school. So I was looking at like UNC Charlotte, like state and stuff like that. But then I decided I wanted a small school, so I found Brevard.
Now, back to the soccer field, ladies, because we've got some business at hand. We've got a season opener on Friday night. We talked a little bit about how practice is going and that kind of thing. I like each of you to mention one player who's not here tonight and kind of, someone who you think is going to play a big role on this year's team and you think has done a great job so far in the preseason. I don't mean to pick any favorites here or anything like that, but I just want to make sure we give the rest of your teammates their due. So we'll just go right around, starting with you, Hannah. Is there someone that comes to mind that you say, hey, wow, she's been doing a great job this preseason. I think people better watch this name this year, because she's going to do something great.
I'd have to say everybody's doing great, but I know today at practice, Emma Gooch really stood out. She had a diving header, and so she just always gives it her all. She always plays really hard. She's got really good footwork, and she has a great shot. I know in the goal, whenever I see her coming up to shoot on me, I go, oh man, this is going to be a good shot. So I'm excited to see what she's capable of, for sure.
Okay, so a diving header from Emma in practice today. Were you in the goal trying to defend it while that went down?
No, I was not. I was on the sidelines, so thankfully I didn't have to try to defend it, but I definitely was cheering for her. I was very impressed.
Was one of our goalkeepers in goal?
One of our
trying to defend?
goalkeepers was in goal, yes, and unfortunately the ball did go wide, but I was still impressed with her effort because she, no hesitation, just dove for that ball.
Because goalkeeping against a diving header is difficult,
It's
right?
tough.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Sally, same question for you. Perhaps another one of the newcomers who has stood out, or someone else you think, hey, Tornado fans, keep an eye on this player. She's going to do something great.
I'm also very excited to play with Emma Gooch in the middle, but Bree, I'm very excited to see her in the back. She has great energy, and I forget her last name, but Link. Brianna Link. She has great energy, and she has really good speed and also great footwork. So
Very good. And same question for you, Audrey. You've had a couple minutes to think about it now. Anyone you want to give a shout out on the current roster?
Yeah, so I think Alyssa Hetherington has really grown since last year. She came into preseason super fit, super ready, and her touch is so clean now. She played amazing in the scrimmage. She really held up the ball really well at center forward and could turn and just rip a shot, and it was really impressive. So
Great. Appreciate that, because we hope to have a huge crowd out there this Friday night to cheer y'all on when the Tornadoes take on Emory and Henry, 7 p.m. under the lights at Ives Lamel Family Field. How important it is to you all while you're playing the game of soccer to have a big crowd out there and cheering you on?
It's just really encouraging. I mean, I know I love it when the guys come to our games because they say all these crazy chants and cheers, and it just kind of gives that extra sense of just fun to the game, because no matter what, yes, we want to go out there and we want to win and we want to play hard, but we're just out there to have fun. And so when you have a big crowd, it just really keeps that atmosphere of this is fun, we're out here playing soccer, people are here encouraging us, so we really appreciate when we have a good crowd out there.
yeah, it definitely helps when we have a larger crowd because it keeps our energy up and just want to make our fans proud. So
yeah, I definitely agree. It's nice whenever you mess up and then they either make fun of you verbally or they really encourage you to keep going. But it's nice to keep it lighthearted.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll have a huge crowd out there this Friday night versus Emory and Henry. That's 7 p.m. at Ives Lamel Family Field. Before I let y'all go, is there anyone maybe back home who might be tuning into the broadcast who you'd like to give a shout out to before we sign off?
I'll give a shout out to my mom. Hi, Mom. She said she was going to watch it, so I assume she is. So I love you.
I don't know if my parents are watching.
Maybe, hey.
Well, remember, this is available on replay, too, so they might be watching down the road.
There we go.
Hey, Mom and Dad.
Huh?
Very good. Well, ladies, good luck with the rest of preseason practice. Good luck this Friday night. We'll be there every step of the way this season, and congrats on your leadership as captains to this year's squad. We're going to talk to your coaches now, so we'll see what they have to say. Looking forward to the start of the season. Thanks again, ladies, for coming on Tornado Talk.
Thank
you so much.
All right, that's the 3 women's soccer captains. Hannah Weatherall, Sally Riggin, and Audrey Cardwell. Great job by that threesome as we continue to head towards that season opener for women's soccer. Tornadoes hosting Emory and Henry this Friday night at Ives Lamel Family Field. And now that we've heard from the 3 captains, we're going to dig even deeper, talking to the coaching staff of the women's soccer team as they get set here. All right, great to have with us head coach Juan Mascaro, assistant coaches Chelsea Shaughnessy and Ashley Hughes. Welcome, women's soccer coaches. Thanks for being here tonight on Tornado Talk.
Thank you for having us, Phil.
Well, first, I'd just like to start with, simply put, how has preseason soccer been going so far for this year's version of the Tornadoes?
It's been going great. It's a short preseason. You know, we've had probably a week and a half, which is really short preseason. We only had about 3 or 4 days of two-a-days, which is short. But, you know, that only makes it that we have to be at a certain level quicker. And I think the team came in fitness-wise, they came in okay. You can always be better, obviously, but I think fitness we're okay, and we're able to do some things to progress into how we want to play.
And Coach Chelsea, there was a scrimmage over the weekend in Spartanburg, South Carolina at Converse. Were things accomplished there that you were pleased with? And, you know, what did you learn coming out of that scrimmage?
Absolutely. I mean, we're a pretty young team, so I think we got our growing pains out in that game. And thanks, Ash. We got the growing pains out in that game, but I think our speed of play, our ball movement, we hit a lot of the marks that we wanted to see, and I think that's great to see from a young team, and it means it's only up from here.
Now, Coach Ashley, and first time we're formally calling you that here on Tornado Talk.
Yes.
How has it been for you transitioning from a graduating, student athlete? I can go on, and I have gone on and on before about all the records you've broken at Brevard College, but now you're part of the coaching staff, a completely different job for you.
Right.
How has that been transitioning from student athlete to now a coach?
I think it's been pretty easy. Last year, without having an assistant coach, our seniors really had to step up and act like an assistant coach. So a lot of people ask me, like, "Oh, is it different now that your old teammates coach now?" And it's really not, because they do look up to you, and we really had to step up last year and fill in and do what Chelsea really does now. So the transition has been pretty easy, and I'm really glad to be here and be with the girls again.
Outstanding. Well, congrats. We're thrilled to have you on board, and I know no
Absolutely.
one's more thrilled than the man here to my
Absolutely.
left, Coach
No question.
Mascaro. And
Yep.
Coach, what does it mean to have these two as your staff?
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, last year was a little rough without an assistant, and but things happen for a reason, and I think it worked out well. But like Ash said, I leaned a lot on our captains, and now having them, I mean, Ash can read my mind. Chelsea is getting there. It's hard to get and read my mind, anyways. But I mean, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have people that know the game well, that you can just say, go ahead and do this, and they know what they're doing, and that the kids respect. Because as an assistant coach, you need to be respected. So having assistant coaches that the kids respect and they look up to, it's a blessing. For sure.
Outstanding. Now, I would like to educate listeners a little more on this year's team, and
Yep.
what I'd like to do is sort of take us through position by position,
Sure.
unit by unit, and let you all kind of preview the season a bit. We'll start with, and we had one of them on just minutes ago, Hannah Weatherall, and we also have Rebecca Rojas coming back. The goalkeeper position's got to be a strength for this year's team.
Oh, we'll let Chelsea dive into that.
Absolutely. I mean, we returned 2 wonderful goalkeepers that are very talented in their own right. And we, on top of that, added 2 younger players coming in, Hannah and Haley. So I think those 2 players can learn a lot and really help the program long term. But I think having a Hannah and a Rebecca, it's amazing to have 2 keepers that can go hand in hand and really challenge. It's hard to beat a good goalkeeper. So we're excited.
Yeah, and then that line just in front of that goalkeeper, the line of defense, how are we looking in that department this season?
Just in front of us.
Oh, please. Go ahead. Knock it out of the park.
Yes, in front. I think we have a good range there. We're pretty deep there in the sense we're young. We have good experience coming in with Erica in the center back, Emma White. So we've balanced out pretty well.
Yeah. I think we have a freshman, Brianna, that is going to help us a lot there as well. She brings a lot of speed. And then we have Audrey on the outside that has a lot of experience. You know, she's a senior. And then we have Aaliyah on the other side and Samantha that can help us on that side. So we are, as compared to last year, we're very deep, which we haven't had that problem in the past, which is a great problem to have. So now we're actually thinking, okay, you know, which is what I enjoy about coaching is where do I put all the pieces? And now we're actually have to think and say, okay, that piece can go here, that piece can go there, or you know, we can move things around. So that's very encouraging for sure.
And with that kind of depth, that allows for fresh legs in late
Correct.
game situations
Correct.
when you might be, either trying to break a tie score or come
Yep.
from behind or what
Yep.
have you, and you can
Yep.
kind of bring in a whole other
Yep.
wave of players.
Yep.
That's a valuable tool.
It is. It's a valuable tool, and it's something that we haven't had in the past couple of years, and now we do, and it's encouraging because it's the class from last year coming in, and you have this new class. So we had 2 pretty good recruiting classes, which is very encouraging for sure.
Now, we spoke of the goalkeepers and the defenders, and we had one of our midfielders, Sally Riggin, on the show just a few minutes ago. Tell us even more about the midfield this season.
So for our midfielders, it's nice to have Sally, like you said, and we also have Abby Petrosky back. And as they mentioned earlier, we also have Emma Gooch. So we are very excited about that. But like Coach Mascaro said, we have a lot of depth. So we're going to be throwing in a lot of different girls in those positions. And it's just nice to have those subs, or, you know, if there's an injury, we're not afraid to just say, okay, so-and-so go in. So it's going to be really good.
Very good. Yeah, a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Depth, no doubt about it. And now the forward position. Who can we expect, would be the leading goal scorers if we were to project out, potentially?
Well,
this
we
season?
pray every night that all of them do. That's the one that you pray every night for, right? But I think we have some talent up there. You know, it's hard to replace 36 goals from 3 seniors last year. 19 of them are sitting here with us today. So it's hard to replace, but I think we have some young kids that are going to go in and help us out. Kendall Cochran is one of them. Ashley Royster, Alyssa Harrington. I mean, those are players that are they're going to score some goals, but we have to help them get into those situations where they are able to score goals. But I feel pretty confident. I mean, and then we have to have a couple more goals coming from the midfield as well. But I think Abby will be able to score. Emma Gooch might be able to score some goals. Sally might be able to score some goals. So we need the whole team to step up and score goals. And in soccer, the good thing is you only need 1 goal to win.
True.
I mean, you play a good game of soccer, you need 1 goal to win. So theoretically, we should score 18 goals the whole season and go 18-0, right? Which is not realistic. But we need the whole team to be able to take that on. It shouldn't be just a one-player thing. It normally happens in a team where you have that player that is your go-to player or 1 or 2 players. But I've been in teams that everybody takes it on, and you get 5 goals from that player, 5 goals from that player, 2 goals from that player, 3 goals from that player, and then it's more balanced, because it's difficult. When you score, as the last couple of games, everybody was marking, you know, Ashley Hughes, and it's hard, when you have 2 people on you to try to score
Sure.
goals, versus if you're marking, if you have to mark 6 or 7 players, it's a lot more difficult. Um, so having a balanced attack, I think, is gonna, it's gonna be the key for us, and everybody has to step up and score. We had the scrimmage Saturday, and Kendall, a freshman, scored a goal for us, and it was a good goal, and I think we had 3 or 4 other chances that we could have scored. So we could have scored 4 or 5 goals Saturday, which is good to see from different players. So hopefully everybody's going to score their share of goals.
Fantastic. Well, appreciate that preview, going kind of in depth and giving fans a good idea of what to look for beginning this Friday against Emory and Henry. Now, would like to talk a little more kind of big picture. We'll start with you, Chelsea. You joined the staff in January. You came from New England, where you've been a head coach before, and you've worked at a couple different institutions. Now that you've been here at Brevard College and here in the area in Western North Carolina, recruiting-wise, what are the real sales points for you? What are the talking points? What are the big benefits of a student athlete coming to Brevard College and playing women's soccer here?
For me, when I talk to recruits, I think the biggest thing I have to say is, one, location. I mean, you can't go wrong here in the area. There's so many different options, but you have so much opportunity, not just as an athlete, but as a student, to really get out there and do different things. And then when it comes to the soccer part, it's about having the best 11, best 20, best 30, however many you have, and how deep can you go and compete and be the best team in the area. So I talk to the kids a lot about the opportunity, and it's in the kids' hands at Division III. I mean, you have to have a lot of drive as an individual to be a Division III athlete, because you aren't with us all the time. So you need to understand that opportunity is there, and if you're not willing to go experience that, it's just learning that curve.
And Ashley, having recently graduated from Brevard College and been a part of the Tornado soccer program, in so much in the middle of things, what makes Brevard College special?
It's just that small knit community, and you know everybody, and that's what makes it special. So I work with people that I know and I enjoy working with. So I think that's what really makes it special. And part of the reason I came to Brevard, because I really love the coaching staff and the girls, and that is really why I was here.
And Coach Mascaro, if you could wrap things up for us, kind of big picture globally, Brevard College, where we're at right now in 2019, not just for women's soccer, but for all the, Tornadoes athletic teams, a very attractive place time and place to jump on board and be a part of Brevard College.
It's definitely a growing school. I'll give you a breaking news. So we finally closed the numbers today, and we are at 751 students, which is the largest student class since we're a 4-year school.
Fantastic. Record-breaking.
Record-breaking, and we broke the record for new student enrollment for the past 3 years. And we have 751 students this fall, which is for us is huge as an institution. And just moving the institution forward. And you can feel it on campus. You can see the vibe and the excitement. And, we're making so much progress and investing a lot of money in capital needs. And we had over the summer, it's funny, we had a housing crisis, which is a great problem to have. We had a lot of students and not enough beds, but everything worked out in the end. But that's a sign of a growing school. That's a sign of it's a school that people want to be at. And one of the the big 3 that we have is obviously location, then hands-on experiential learning, and then small classrooms. The ability to be able to connect with faculty in your major, and those are the big 3 for us. And I think students like that. We have a great group of students that is what they're looking for nowadays. So we're very excited about this year. I think it's going to be a great year for the college. And like I said, we've done a lot of capital improvements, and it shows. I mean, the campus is looking beautiful. So we're excited. I mean, very, very excited. We're celebrating tonight.
Outstanding. Well, exciting time to be a Tornado, and
Very
want to
exciting.
encourage folks to jump on board. Follow us at bctornadoes.com and on all the social media and on the broadcast of every home game. And certainly if you're able to come on out and see
Absolutely.
these student athletes in action, they really put on a tremendous product. It's a lot of fun to
Yeah.
come on out to Ives Lamel Family Field, especially under the lights, and
Yeah.
see some great soccer.
Yeah.
Well, women's soccer coaching staff, Juan Mascaro, Chelsea Shaughnessy, and Ashley Hughes, thank you for joining Tornado Talk tonight. No better way to kick off the season of
Absolutely.
Tornado Talk than talking a bunch of women's soccer coming off that great year last year and
Yeah.
ready for even bigger things this year. So thanks
Absolutely.
again for coming on the show. Best of luck this coming Friday.
Thank you for having us,
Thank you.
Phil. Absolutely.
All right, women's soccer, a deep dive as we talk to the three captains and then the three members of the coaching staff. And we will switch gears in just a moment here, talking a little volleyball. All right, great to be joined now by volleyball student athletes Mariana Rodriguez and Sydney Fox. Ladies, thanks for joining Tornado Talk.
Yes, thank you for inviting us.
Memory serves correct. You both appeared on the program last year, so this is old hat for you now as sophomores, on the Tornado volleyball team. Well, let's start with the business at hand. We're counting down the days to the regular season opener
Yes.
for you all, and you have to take a road trip to get started. You're going to Birmingham, Alabama. I love the name of this event, by the way, the Birmingham Southern Mac Attack Bash.
Mac Attack.
Try to say that all in one word there. In Birmingham, Alabama, you get started on Friday with a match against Rhodes, and then on Saturday versus St. Catherine and host Birmingham Southern. What have the coaches been telling you as far as what you all need to do to stay focused heading into this weekend's opener?
Mostly we've been working on blocking, serve receive, and serving, things like that. Just stay focused, stay concentrated, do what you do best, and just mentally prepare yourself, sleep, eat good, and just be ready for the bus ride.
Similar feelings, Sydney, as far as preparation for this weekend?
Oh, yeah, I definitely think we're trying to become a stronger defensive team this year because without a pass, you can't get a set or a hit. So we've really been focusing on serve receive and a lot of passing drills just to get ready for this weekend.
Very good. Now, would like listeners to get to learn a little more about each of you, and we'll start with you, Mariana. You're from Houston, Texas.
Yes.
Houston's a lot different than Brevard, North Carolina,
Very
right?
different, yes.
How did you find Brevard, and how are you liking it so far as that change of pace?
I love Brevard. I mean, this is my second year here, and I was just looking for schools that, I just want to play volleyball. That's it, I definitely wanted something where I could focus more on my academics, and I understood that D3s do that rather than D1s, because D1s is just you live and breathe and die volleyball. And here, I'm able to do that, but I'm also able to balance more of my academics, and that's what I want to do. I want to be able to have time for myself other than volleyball. I love volleyball, but I need to concentrate on my studies, That's why you're called a student athlete, student first, and then athlete.
Yeah, I like that, and that's a great point about Division III, and we're going to be talking a little YD3. Have you seen that hashtag, by the way, that there's a YD3, hashtag Y,
Yes,
WHYD3.
yes. I remember that trend, yes.
And the whole idea is exactly what you said. This is why D3 makes sense for a lot of student athletes.
Oh, yes, of course.
Anything to add to that, Sydney? Do you feel at home here in this Division III model?
So, yeah, for sure. I definitely knew that volleyball isn't going to pay my bills in the future, so I decided to take the route of getting my studies first and volleyball second, because I do still enjoy and love playing volleyball, but I also need to focus on like my future and like 10 years from now, not next year. So definitely love it here where I can site, and it was definitely one of my first choices to come here because I'm used to being at the beach 24/7 in my little seaside town, and I thought the mountains would be a good change for me, and I love the snow and stuff like that. So definitely love it up here. So.
And you mentioned the classroom. I would like each of you to, if you have in fact declared a major, tell the audience what you're majoring in and what you might want to do with that degree once you acquire it.
Right. Well, I major in both biology and exercise science. And as of right now, I do want to be a volleyball coach, but I just have those as backup because I know I want to work with athletes all the time in my future, whether that's going to be a physical therapist or an athletic trainer, whatever it may be, I want to be with athletes all the time.
Excellent. And Sydney, have you decided on a major yourself?
Yes, sir. It's criminal justice and forensics, and my long-term goal is to go to the FBI, but I know it's going to take a while to get there. But after college, I'm going to work my way up at a local sheriff's office somewhere, go into the Air Force, or haven't really decided what to do quite yet, but I know my long-term goal is to go to the FBI.
Well,
so.
both excellent programs here at Brevard College, and sounds like very thoughtful choices for each of you as far as what you want to major in and head towards. Now, back to the volleyball court. Would like each of you to kind of describe your position because, you talk to guys like Joseph and some of these others here in the audience. I mean, they know the ins and outs of volleyball. They can do statistics for volleyball, all these things. But some of our viewers and listeners just might not know that much about the sport and kind of the, the lingo or the terminology. Mariana, we'll start with you. Defensive specialist and libero.
Yes.
Can you explain in layman's terms, to the audience, what those jobs are on the volleyball court?
Well, defensive specialist is just exactly as it sounds. You specialize in defending, and you specialize in digging the ball, getting it up, making that first play. And then just the term libero is just for the best passer, the best defensive specialist. So that's what I play. I play as libero. And that's just the person that's on with a different jersey color, and instead of them rotating into front row, they stay back row the whole time so that they are on the court more than another person would be.
Yeah, makes sense. And Sydney, you typically are an outside hitter,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And another position that comes to mind when I think of outside hitter is middle blocker, but also something called right side.
Yes.
So those three, can you tell the audience what those three are and kind of what your specialty is?
So right side is the hitter that's on the right side of the net all the way to the right, and then middle blocker's the middle, in the middle of the net, and then I'm on the left side of the net, outside hitter, and the team really just depends on me to put the ball down and get that kill so we can move on to the next point and win the game. And I really think that I bring a really good asset to the team because not only can I put the ball down, but I'm also very particular in where I put the ball and like try and strategize before the game and like look at their defense and stuff like that. But definitely would not be able to do that without Madi, so it all works out.
Very good. And we might as well just like complete our little tutorial about volleyball to our audience. Setter.
Yes.
Right?
Basically the quarterback. They run everything. They run that court. I mean, they deserve literally all the credit because no matter where on the court they are, they put it in either Sydney's hands, whether they're all the way across the court, or they put it in whoever they know will put it down. They're looking at the other side of the court as well. So not only are they monitoring who's the most on for hitting on our side, but they're also looking at the block on the other side, looking at their defense, and they have it all. I mean, they're literally the quarterback.
Yeah, and the way the service works is several different players, throughout the game. It rotates around. Most everyone gets the chance to serve at some point. Talk about that a little bit, the art of the serve. I know there's different styles. Some people have this, jump serve, and they're looking for an ace. Others are just trying to put the defense back on their heels and put them into a tough position to start their attack. Can each of you talk about your service in particular and kind of your style?
I have been working on my float serve, actually my standing float serve, and that just kind of makes the ball knuckle in the air. So when the other team is getting lined up to pass it, you normally like floats to another part, so it like tricks them. But I definitely, serving is the one thing as a player that you do all by yourself. So, like, you really have to practice it a lot. We practice it every single day, serving different zones and different places so you can find that weak link on the other team. So it's definitely an important thing to know when you're on the court.
And then I do a jump float serve. So whenever you jump float, it just gives more of a like trajectory, especially since I'm short. It helps me just traject the ball more down. Mine's also a float, so it just goes like this. You know, you're aiming for spots on the court, like Sydney said, that are the weak links and everything like that. And like one particular spot that's really hard to pass or that's very annoying for the setter is the 1 and 2 zone, because then she has to go over her and has to push it out. It's just so much harder. So that depending on the zone that the coach sees that they want us to serve, that's where we'll hit it. And so then you could do a short, you could do a drop where the float is like this and then all of a sudden just drops. I hate passing those because it's like you don't expect it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also like top spin, which is just really hard. Those are the easiest to pass, but if you don't have a still platform and you don't know how to pass those, I mean, those just, you shank them.
Wow, that's fascinating. You're almost describing, the serves like the way a Major League Baseball pitcher throws different pitches, as far as the movement goes and just kind of tricking the hitter and so forth. I see some parallels there. Now, I'd like to shift gears to talk a little bit about energy on the court, because, watching a lot of volleyball over the years, it seems like teams get a lot of momentum at certain points and reel off a bunch of points in a row, long scoring runs and that kind of thing. And so much of it is an energy game. Which team wants it more and is kind of rolling with it, as far as that energy goes? Talk about the Tornadoes and how you guys cultivate energy.
That's been one of our main focuses this year, is like keeping that energy throughout the entire game. Like even if we are down, to keep our heads up and keep our mental game strong and push through and keep that strong energy. We have been doing a lot of team bonding, which is really nice when it comes to energy, because like if we all get along really well, we all know what picks each other up, and like Maddie knows how to pick me up really easy on the court. So whenever I'm feeling down, I just look at her and like I'm just ready to go for the next point. So that's definitely been one of our main focuses, because last year we kind of struggled with that, but this year I think we really hit it on the head. So
Yeah, just my personal preference or just opinion is that if you can bond off the court, you have an easier, more reliable chemistry on the court. So like, for example, if Sydney and Hannah are hanging out more, Hannah's one of our setters, I feel like if the chemistry is going to be there, the connection is going to be stronger. And then just also, if you just get along, you're going to have more fun. I mean, volleyball, we have the skill, everybody has the skill that's here. It's just, it's such a mental game, and you have to be positive. You have to talk have self-positive talk, and you have to be in it to win it. You can't, a point's a point. It's done. It's over. And that's, I think, what we had struggled with last year. We were just so hard on ourselves, which is okay, which is good, because that means that you care. That means that you want it more. But this year, we just have to focus on next point, next thing. We got this. It's more team bonding.
Yeah, and I know it's challenging to start the season on the road with a long bus trip and so forth, but the flip side is more opportunity for bonding, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The coaches didn't tell me to say that, by the way. I came up with that somehow. But speaking of which, can you guys talk a little bit about your coaches? So, the head coach,
I'm so excited for
is expecting,
What, 2 days
who's
from
going to be
now?
the youngest tornado around,
yeah.
in a few days here,
Yes.
expecting a newborn. And so there's been some adjustments to the coaching staff.
Yes.
Stephanie Johnson, who has a lot of experience with volleyball coaching and is part of our administration at Brevard College Athletics, has stepped in and helped y'all out. Can you guys talk a little bit about, how that's been as far as the coaching goes? Because certainly, it affects y'all as student athletes.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, like, we are so incredibly happy for Anna. We want nothing but the best for her, and we are so appreciative that at this state in her pregnancy, she's still able to coach us the way that she was before. She's still demonstrating, not all the way. I mean, she's still demonstrating, and she's still just as intense as she was before, which we absolutely appreciate. Like, she is such a strong woman. And Bailey, I mean, we love her. We know how she's going to coach us. We have We don't have any doubts in her. We have nothing but incredible pride in her. And then I really like it that another coach has stepped in order to help Bailey, because Bailey does so much for us. Like, she is every position that you want her to be. She is like, she gives the best advice. She's the best coach. I mean, she does over and beyond for all of us. And now that she has help from Stephanie, it can help ease that burden for her.
Yeah, definitely super excited for Anna as well. Like, that's awesome. Can't wait. But Bailey is, she's just an amazing person. Like, I'm so thankful that she's in my life for like multiple reasons, that she's always there for me on and off the court. And I really like Stephanie's coaching style, even though she's only been there a couple times or most days. She's just very blunt and to the point, and I really enjoy that. Like, she won't beat around the bush, and like, you just have to be able to take it. I mean, but I definitely love her coaching style, because like, she'll tell me right away what I need to do, and then I'll fix it. So like, I really do love that about her, and them together is just a really good pair, just like Anna and Bailey. And yeah, I'm excited for this season.
Fantastic. That's great to hear that it's going that well. And you're right about Coach Grant. You know, we had media day the other day, and she was right there in the middle of it, you know, kind of orchestrating everything and so forth, and taking it to the very last minute here, it seems like.
She's still working out just as intense as she was before. I mean, oh my gosh, kudos to her.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned to Brevard College Athletics social media, as well as the volleyball social media, because I'm sure that breaking news will come down the pike pretty soon here. Well, ladies, great job tonight on Tornado Talk. Best of luck this weekend and throughout the season. We'll be watching every step of the way. And great job on Tornado Talk. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, that was Sydney Fox and Mariana Rodriguez of Brevard College volleyball. As we shift gears yet again, joined now by the commissioner of the USA South, Dr. Tom Hart. Great to have Dr. Hart on the show here as he gets set here in the coach's corner at Dugan's Pub. Commissioner of the USA South, debut appearance here on Tornado Talk. Thanks for joining the show.
I'm so happy to be able to be here in Brevard and have a chance to be on Tornado Talk. I'm looking forward to the time.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. And first, just to let folks know why you happen to be in town tonight, you know, some Coaches Summit meetings happening tomorrow for the USA South Conference on the campus of Brevard College. Can you explain folks a little bit about what will be going on tomorrow?
Certainly. So, yes, it's the third of our 3 trips to Brevard. We came here in February, again late last month in July, and then this is our 3rd trip here. The Coaches Summit, basically this is our 3rd year of doing them, and it's an opportunity for coaches to come together physically, sit around a table similar to this, and be able to share ideas, meet each other, and just get a chance to talk about the state of their game and things that we can do as a conference to improve it. We also tie in a little professional development at the lunch hour, where this year our topic is mental health for our student athletes. In the past, we've talked about sportsmanship, we've talked about diversity in the workplace. So a lot of the things that the NCAA really wants to try to promote and move forward. So between the lunch and learn, the opportunity for the coaches to get together, and then we talk a little bit about the conference, some of our communication strategies, talk about some of the expectations and things of that nature. So it's about a 4-hour workshop, and anywhere from 80 to 100 different folks will come at any one time. So it's been we're really happy about the opportunity that we've had to be able to put this together, and it seems like the feedback we get is positive as well.
Great. Well, so folks can learn a little more about the USA South. You know, Brevard College, a fairly new member with Brevard's transition into Division III and so forth. Could you give folks sort of an overview of what the USA South is, you know, sort of elevator speech style?
Sure. So we are the largest Division III conference in the country. We have 18 members. We span from Alabama to Virginia. I'll often say we go A to V. We don't quite get to Z, but we've got two schools in Virginia, 5 in Georgia, 1 in Alabama, 1 in Tennessee, 1 in Kentucky, and then the remainder are in North Carolina, including Brevard. So there's a lot of space to cover. We offer, this year we're looking to potentially offer women's golf as a championship sport, which is something new, which would put us at 18, I think it's 18 sports that we would have championships in.
Mm-hmm. And because of so many teams, a division model for most sports, correct?
Many of our sports, all of our women's sports, for the most part, have that have a fully subscribed number of sports that are sponsored, such as women's basketball, soccer, softball. Those they will be in divisions, tennis, things of that nature. And then in the men, there's a couple sports that do, but for the most part, the men have there's less sports because less teams in each division, if you will, because we've got 5 single gender institutions, which really help it basically, Phil, it makes it so that there's almost like 2 distinct conferences.
Sure.
Because of scheduling expectations and things of that nature. Mary Baldwin, located in Stanton, Virginia, they are in the process of moving to a co-ed type of experience. So while we have 5 currently, there'll be, in a year or 2, there'll be 4. In fact, Mary Baldwin just today announced that they're going to be starting men's basketball as their 3rd team sport. So
terrific.
They'll be moving in that direction.
Now, Brevard and Pfeiffer are both in this reclassification process, moving into Division III.
Yes.
And both were awarded a waiver to, move forward in that whole process, and are now just a year away. Both institutions, including right here at Brevard College. How unusual is that to be granted a waiver to, move forward in the reclassification, and how important is that for the league altogether to have these two as full members?
That's a great question, and we have found ourselves in a position where, in terms of how rare it is, I know that Berea College, who also joined us a few years ago, they also received a 1-year waiver. I think the NCAA is becoming a little bit more receptive to schools that can demonstrate that they've basically completed the expectations.
But that's the key, demonstrating that you've checked all the boxes.
Data, right? They want to see the list. They want to make sure that everything's moving in the right direction. And so in this case, for Pfeiffer and Brevard, I mean, it's a great opportunity for our conference to move up to elevate our timeline 1 year earlier. The student athletes at these 2 institutions will be eligible for championships. It also provides a chance now from an AQ standpoint that it really bolsters our numbers as it relates to men's lacrosse, as an example, because they're going to be able to count them in the numbers of schools that we need to keep an AQ. I should note that one of the things that we've learned in the last couple of years, because of the Pfeiffer and Brevard process, we're sponsoring legislation for the NCAA at the convention in January that would reduce the amount of time these institutions have to be in the system or in the pipeline, if you will. For schools that are reclassifying, like Pfeiffer and Brevard did from Division 3, or from Division 2 to Division 3, we're looking to move that from like a 5-year process to maybe a 3-year process, probably something a little bit quicker.
Sure.
And then for those institutions that are currently provisional or NAIA or maybe unaffiliated, that they would go from a 5-year process to a 4-year process. So we're hopeful that with those, if we can gather enough support to have them pass, and we do have co-sponsorship, so we have at least one other conference that's joined us in co-sponsoring. So we know that the legislation will be on the agenda for the convention. But if we're able to move in that direction, we believe that will render Division III a little bit more appealing to those institutions that maybe they're a Division III institution in spirit and in a lot of the ways they do things, but for whatever reason they went down a path that they now want to transition from. And we're hoping that this legislation will make it a little easier.
I would like to hear from you, Commissioner Hart, on Division III. And actually a couple of our student athletes earlier tonight brought it up organically, why they enjoy being student athletes in the Division III environment. But as someone who has been around small college athletics for many years, could you tell the audience why Division III makes sense for so many student athletes?
Oh, Phil, that's one of my favorite things to talk about is Division III athletics and its purpose and its place. Growing up in upstate New York, I had an opportunity to witness the beginnings of Division III in the way that it could work, and whether it be SUNY Potsdam or Hamilton College or Utica College. There were a number of Division III institutions, and I used to move into the Hamilton College campus and be able to shoot hoops a little bit, as a high school student, and there would be the student athletes that you watched earlier, that a couple nights earlier or whatever playing, and so I really became to appreciate Division III athletics to the point where this is, I think, going to be my 27th year associated with Division III athletics. I think the beauty and the joy that I've experienced has been the balance. Having had an opportunity to coach at the Division I level, and as well as the professional level in basketball, I never felt that the people that were doing that were, and especially at the Division I level, that they valued the academic piece, right? There was always the end was, I want to get to the pros, I want to have something great happen in my career. At the Division III level, those expectations are tempered, and there's a much more realistic belief in why we're there. We're there to get an education.
Sure.
Right? Whether you're going to become a teacher, a doctor, you're going to work in social services, whatever the case may be, you're doing it knowing that you still get to play the sport you love in a very competitive setting, mind you. But there's also that end game that's going to help. And I think about athletics, that the ability to graduate, right? The fact that we continue to tie significant progress to a student's ability to play ensures that, in fact, both institutions that I was an athletic director at the Division III level, student athletes graduated at a rate higher than the regular population. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that they wanted to keep playing, they wanted to make sure that they earned their degree, and it just made sense.
Plus, they're learning great habits from their coaches and teammates and in that whole athletic environment.
Oh, time management, the ability to the work ethic that's necessary. I mean, those are pieces that that employers find valuable, and those are the things that resonate when students go out into the workforce. When they say, "Well, yeah, I was on a lacrosse team, or I was on a women's soccer team," we had earlier, and we had to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and put in some workouts. There's a discipline there that you don't necessarily get in a lot of other activities.
You mentioned the NCAA convention earlier, and I would like to take it another direction because I know the USA South was a big part of a program where they were able to get representatives from SAC, Student Athlete Advisory Committee members from the USA South down to Orlando this past spring for the NCAA convention. And one of them, Jack Shade from here at Brevard College, a men's lacrosse senior, I was able to debrief with him, and he just had the time of his life. Not only a fun experience and all that, but most importantly, learning how the business of athletics worked from behind the scenes and just incredible networking opportunities. Can you tell folks even more about that program you all facilitated?
Certainly. Kind of in that same vein of let's get people together. When you have a conference that's as large as ours, finding opportunities to come together that are not in a competitive setting, right? I mean, I think that there's something to be said for breaking bread or having the opportunity to hear from a speaker and then debrief on that.
Sure.
Because you're kind of, there's a unifying, at that point we had USA South gear, and so there was a unifying piece. It was the second time that we've done that. The first time was in Nashville back in 2017, and I think we had 27 students then. This time in Orlando, a little bit further away from our footprint, we took one student from each school. But those students had an opportunity to not only learn about legislation, learn about how to, we did some best practices in terms of what are some of the ways you can grow your Student Athlete Advisory Council, and what are some of the opportunities that provides you. We also did some the learning, There was a color, your colors. What was what kind of a personality assessment?
Mm-hmm.
Those types of activities. When we were in Nashville, Jason Selk, who's a performance coach, mental performance coach. He was actually the coach for the mental performance coach for the St. Louis Cardinals for about 6 years. But he had a chance to come and speak to the student athletes. So finding ways to tie in personal growth,
Mm-hmm.
tie that into also having a chance for them to think about it collectively as the USA South. What are some of the ways we can improve together? And then finally, the NCAA legislation and kind of like, how does it work?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make sausage out of everything we do? So those were the feedback we received from whether it be Jack or any of the students that go has been was always one of those pieces that we enjoy to hear, because they're able to see something with a fresh set of eyes, and it's something new and something they're able to learn.
Terrific. Well, appreciate you providing that opportunity. And like I said, just talking to Jack and hearing from him, and he was really able to see, even if he doesn't go into college athletics, he was able to see how business works,
Right.
and how to be a professional and so forth.
Yeah.
And so thanks again for making that happen.
Yeah, and that's one of those activities that we're on an every other year cycle. This year the convention's in Anaheim, so we're not thinking we're going to ship a lot of folks to Anaheim, but then what we do in the off year is a leadership summit for student leaders from the SAC. And 2 years ago we went to Atlanta. This year we'll be somewhere in North Carolina where the students can come together and do those kinds of activities that help them grow.
Well, you mentioned 27 years by your estimation in NCAA Division III athletics. Can you talk a little bit about your path and let folks get to know a little bit, where you've been along the way and how ultimately you wound up at the USA South Conference?
It's interesting that you think about, how do you become a commissioner of a conference? So there's 44 of us, and one of my colleagues often will make the comment, there's more senators than there are commissioners, but the truth is that it was through a lifetime of being associated with education. So right from the word, when I went to undergrad at Niagara University in upstate New York, and my senior year when I was doing student teaching, got involved with the high school basketball team and did some coaching with them. Was able to then went to graduate school in San Diego, California. So I hopped in the 75 Bonneville and did the trip across without a cell phone across the country, and then went to grad school and was able to be fortunate enough at the Division I level to be the only assistant coach that we had in that program. This is back in the mid '80s, and it wasn't quite the business to the extent it is now.
Sure.
Translated that into a move back east to go to a junior college where I was able to teach on an adjunct basis and be a basketball coach there. During a summer basketball, I had open gyms for a lot of the high school coaches in the area, because that was the only way I could introduce myself. And we were all young enough to want to pick up basketball. And one Sunday morning when we were playing, Phil Jackson and Charlie Rosen came into play. This was near Woodstock, New York. And so they came into play, and so they started coming every Sunday, and so we got to play, pick up with those guys. And then by the end of the summer, I was going to Rockford, Illinois to coach in the Continental Basketball Association. Did that, and that was the same year that Phil took the job as an assistant with the Bulls under Doug Collins. So went to Rockford, was able to do, by then I had gotten my master's in psychology, was able to do some counseling while I was in Rockford, and then coached for the Lightning. And then at the age of 30, it was kind of like, okay, well, how can I continue to coach, but maybe at a place that resonates more to my spirit and my heart.
Sure.
And that was the Division III level, and I had some friends in St. Louis. Went down there and was able to get associated with Webster University, first as a volunteer. I often tell people, oftentimes in sports, you have to just do it. You got to do it, and then some good things can come from that. And so I just did it. Started a legal court filing service on the side, so I was able to make some money. And then a year later, was able to be named head coach. 2 years later, I was the director of athletics and the head coach of basketball. 3 years after that, the school got too big, athletics got too big. Very, very similar to what's going on at Brevard. They continue to grow. And then, so I was teaching an adjunct, but then I was doing AD and then being golf coach. And then from there, it was just AD. So I got from coaching basketball players to coaching golfers to coaching coaches, basically. And during that time, our conference did not have a commissioner. The St. Louis Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. There was no commissioner. An AED would do it.
Sure.
It's like another job, another hat you had to put on. And so was able to do that 2 successful times. One time was a 2-year term, one was a 1-year term. At the end of my first time when I did it for 2 years, at the end of that, I made a proposal that we hire a part-time commissioner, and they did.
Very
and then
good.
at the end of my second time, we had to hire a full-time commissioner. And so, but I like that concept of helping big groups, and was fortunate enough to be the chair of the NCAA Men's Basketball Committee, and be on that national committee for Division III for 4 years. And then took a job at Berry College in the South, and then from there was able to get this position here as a commissioner, which really kind of my daughter is doing the things that she does now in high school, playing volleyball and tennis, and I wanted to have a chance to watch her do that. And my son is very involved in the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, and he was a Cub Scout, now he's a Boy Scout, as well as band. And so being able to chance to see him do those kinds of things, this job allows me to do my job from anywhere, and still look at big picture things, but be able to help students, like with the SAC situations and the convention, but do it in a way that allows me to do multiple pieces.
Great. Well, appreciate all that, Commissioner Hart. And, my whole career I've been trying to guide sports management or sports administration students, into athletics, and let them realize their dreams. And you're another example of how that can be done. If you do, in fact, put yourself out there and get your foot in that door, and it can be done. There's a model there.
Right. It's one of those things that sometimes students have to understand that it doesn't just happen immediately. I mean, I often tell the story that until the age of 30, I don't know, Phil, if you get those Social Security summaries of your life, how much money you put into Social Security. Sure. When I look at my summaries for the first, until the age of 30, I think the most money I ever made in a year was because I worked construction on the side, doing it, painting bridges. And the money that I made, I never made more than $1,500 doing any kind of athletic things till the age of 30. And sometimes you have to pay those kinds of dues to realize your dream, and so that's why I'm forever grateful and thankful for these opportunities.
Great. Well, Commissioner Hart, we appreciate you coming on Tornado Talk. Before I let you go, any final words as we head into this 2019-2020 season for USA South Conference play? Anything you want to let the fans know as far as what they can look ahead towards?
Well, competition at its greatest. I think that there's a lot of most of our sports. We find there's a number of schools that are balanced that can compete and do some things with each other. So that's one of the things that I've always looked forward to. I look forward to coming to Brevard and seeing a football game this year. That's one of the as I map out my football. It's like as a commissioner, you have to figure out where you're going to be each week. And this year, having a chance to get back up here, and maybe if the games are on Saturday, but if I can stick around long enough for another Tornado Talk, maybe I'll be able to be here for you. But
love to make it happen.
But I like doing those kinds of things and seeing those kind of games and see the students play. But other than that, we just want to make sure that we provide the best experience we can. And help our student athletes achieve their dreams.
Outstanding. Well, thanks for joining the show tonight, Commissioner Hart, and we'll see you at the summit tomorrow for the Coaches Summit on the campus of Brevard College. Thanks again.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Phil.
All right, that was Commissioner Tom Hart, Commissioner of the USA South Conference, as this season debut show of Tornado Talk rolls on. We're going to wrap it up with our Director of Athletics, Miranda Nash, in just a moment here. We want to once again thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. I want to thank once again USA South Commissioner Dr. Tom Hart for joining the program, and joined now by Director of Athletics for Brevard College, Miranda Nash. Well, Miranda, we concluded the 2018 or 19 season, right here at Tornado Talk. And now we kick off the 2019-20 season. And thanks again for joining the show.
Yeah, that feels like yesterday. So
Right? It's a quick summer.
Yeah, we had a few months fly by here.
Well, let's catch folks up because I kind of covered all the, action on the field and
Yep.
what's going on heading into the season opening games and so forth. But quite a few news items went down this summer
Yeah.
that I do want to catch folks up on. And the biggest one, no doubt, and we touched on it with Commissioner Hart, is that Brevard College will begin the final year of its reclassification process to become full-time members of NCAA Division III as part of a waiver to bypass a year and to expedite that process. Miranda, I know this is something as a department you were shooting for, and now it's been accomplished. Can you talk about how gratifying that is, and also, how important it is in practicality for our institution to be able to move into Division III that much sooner?
Yeah, I think I would have been fired if we if we didn't get the waiver for year 3. No, we've done what we've needed to do along the process, and Angie Mascara, our compliance director, has done a fabulous job keeping us on task and on track for the numerous reports that come out of something like this. So, being in the last year, you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. We kind of hoped we'd be here a year ago, but you just never know. There's so many things that can be questioned, when you're going in your transition, and if the NCAA feels like you can skip a year and be set up for success enough to be in your last year. So that was important for us, and we're here, and we're gonna, go through all the the hoops again one more year, and be full members next year. And it's a year less that our student athletes have to sit out, in postseason. And so that was our goal, is to get them to the end of that as quickly as we can, and we did that. So
outstanding. And kind of a realized theme of tonight's show has been, this idea that Division III is the right place for Brevard College. A couple of the student athletes said completely organically, I didn't prompt them at all, that, hey, we love being at Division III. Is that the feeling you've gotten? You were here before, back when it was Division II, and now as the AD of a Division III institution, the right fit for Brevard, right?
Yeah, all I knew was Division II. And so coming back here as the athletic director, I'm learning everything over again, really, and what it is to be a Division III institution and a contributing member to a conference that we're so proud to be a part of. And so for us, and I'm going to be really honest, I wasn't a firm believer in it at the beginning, and now I am. I can see just the progression of our student athletes and the fit. I think before we had a lot of clash with athletics and about every other campus constituency, and we don't have that anymore. And I think it's just because of the understanding that our student athletes have and are recruited in this specific system. And so, man, it has been so nice to come back and not feel that tension, and for our recruited student athletes to understand what it means to be a contributing citizen to our community, and get it done in the classroom, because if you can't get it done there, you're not going to be successful in life. So that's been really important.
Well, and this past academic year, just a blockbuster year in terms of student-athlete performance in the classroom, in addition to, their work on the field or on the playing court. 91 Brevard College student-athletes named USA South Academic All-Conference. 2 student-athletes, one of whom is now an assistant coach for women's soccer, Ashley Hughes, and Tim Hanks for men's tennis, were named Google Cloud Academic All-District, which is the COSIDA Academic All-American program. Very difficult to achieve that one. We had 2 Tornado football players, Tyler Gregory and Ryan Jordan, named to the National Football Foundation Hampshire Honor Society, another prestigious academic award. U.S. Cycling Academic All-Stars, Lacrosse Academic Honor Roll women's and men's tennis, ITA academic scholar athletes. The list goes on and on. Dr. Steve Knott, as our faculty athletics representative, a big part of that process as well. So I think it's just more evidence that, it's going in the right direction in terms of student first, then athlete, and then just the whole experience as a student athlete at a Division III institution.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of that credit goes to you and Joseph for finding those avenues for our student athletes to get rewarded in that and their endeavors that they get done in the classroom. And I hope that the list continues to grow, year over year. And we set the expectations as a college that coming in, our GPAs have been elevated year after year with bigger class sizes and bigger class sizes that retain because they fit into the program that is Brevard College. And so, we just hope that continues.
Now, a couple more news items from the summer do want to catch folks up on, and this one has a action item attached to it. We're going to give some directive to NATO Nation here. So Brevard College Athletics entered into a partnership with Nike and BSN Sports earlier this summer. It involves numerous incentives and the outfitting of student athletes and that kind of thing, but also includes a team store, an online store for Tornadoes gear where folks can go and purchase the latest item. Before we get into the action item in the online store, can you talk about how important it is to have an apparel deal like this one through BSN Sports and with Nike?
Yeah, when I came in, I was thinking about it, and I wasn't really sure that's the avenue we wanted to go down because there's definitely coaches that have brand loyalty across the board. What I was finding was that 80% of our teams were using Nike, but our department wasn't getting the benefits of being a Nike school.
Sure.
And Nike elevates our brand as well, and now that we have this team store, we have the ability for all of our sports and our clubs to be able to go on and buy one-off pieces that, maybe they can't get from the bookstore, specialized pieces. So our rep, Todd Anderson, used to be the baseball coach here at Brevard, so he has an affinity for Brevard College athletics, and it's just been a wonderful partnership from top to bottom since we entered into it.
Okay, folks, now here's the action item. Go to bctornadoes.com, click on Fan Zone, and you'll see a link there for the official team score of Brevard College Athletics. Click on that, and you'll find the team store, and it's tremendous. You can customize certain gear to your liking, all sorts of sizes. You can find team-specific items, correct?
Yep. Yeah, I just ordered my gear today, actually. And it's not specifically only Nike. There's Badger stuff that BSN carries. It's a little more affordable, but has, all of our team stuff on it. And so I perused on the website for a little bit and found some things that I loved. So definitely use that code.
A great special up through September 23rd, a 25% discount on items if you use the promo code, all cap letters, Grand Opening 19. That's Grand Opening 19. So head on over to that online team store. Gear up for the start of the season. We want to see you in Brevard College Tornadoes gear when you come on out here to the games on the campus of Brevard College. Congrats, Miranda, for that agreement, and an exciting opportunity for the fans. I think this is going to be a big hit.
I do too. I think it's great. So
the next news item is another partnership, this one with Volt Athletics. Volt Athletics is going to provide Tornado student athletes with individualized state-of-the-art technology for strength and conditioning programs. They've got some really interesting technology that can kind of have a virtual robust strength and conditioning program for an athletic department like ours.
So we were brought to Volt through our football program. They were using Volt, and Jaron Gouveia said, hey, this is a really awesome app. I think, all of our students would really benefit from that. And so he flew a guy out from Seattle to talk to our coaches, and we had enough coaches that were interested in the program that I decided to pursue it as an athletic department. And so as an athletic department, what would this look like for us? And well, it's been fantastic to work with Stephanie, our assistant AD and senior woman administrator. She kind of heads it up and teaches people and gets them logged into the system. And so we're hoping that our students that want that kind of resource will really find a lot of value in that.
Fantastic. And the last area I'd like to touch on is some of these new head coaches we have here on campus for our student athletes. We've got 3 of them, and we'll go through each of them because they each have unique backgrounds. The first, men's soccer, their season's starting real quickly here, and we have a veteran head coach in El Dana. He originally from Brazil, but has been in this part of the country for quite a few years, and really brings a lot of experience to that men's soccer program.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, when you're looking for a coach, you can't imagine getting that lucky to have someone that wants to be here. And he, just from day one, actually before he was actually hired, I feel like he was working. He has just been so incredible, and I'm really excited for that team to see what they can put together on the field. I think once things start clicking for them, I mean, they're gonna be something special. So excited for them.
One more new coach for men's and women's tennis, and they're starting up pretty shortly here with their fall schedule. Another gentleman who's familiar with the area from not too far away in like kind of the Bristol, Johnson City, Tri-Cities area up the road a bit, Mr. Brad Jones.
Yeah, Brad's coming to us from Bethany, and his philosophy in Division III, he gets it, he understands it, he is going to provide an incredible experience for our student athletes, and that program I think is going to grow far beyond what we thought that they could do under his leadership. And so I think it'll take some time for him to get recruiting underneath of his belt and get the team started and rolling, but he's bringing back some great pieces to the team, and he'll definitely provide a good experience for them, but then I think they'll be very, very successful as well.
And the third new head coach, Mike Victory, baseball.
Yeah. So Mike and his assistant Rob have just been phenomenal. I think they're at everything. So they get, integrating into the campus community and truly understand how to show the team how to act. And so they, Kevin Allingham left it with a great roster for them to come into, and they've started already in their fall season just to have a little bit of face time with the guys. And, I've just been very, very impressed with them in a very short time.
Great. Well, Miranda, thanks for coming on tonight's show. It's been a great season opener for Tornado Talk, and great to have all the guests. And you just hang with me here. I'll wrap things up for everybody. Do want to remind folks of the home opening games for several fall sports coming up. Women's soccer, we talked a lot about BC women's soccer this evening. Their opener at home this Friday, 7 p.m. versus Emory and Henry at Ives Lamel Family Field under the lights. Hope to see you there. And then next week, after volleyball gets back from Birmingham, Alabama, Thursday, September 5th, the regular season home opener for the Tornadoes, also against Emory and Henry. That's at the Boschmer Gymnasium, Thursday, September 5th at 6:30 p.m. Football, their opener still a little bit ways away. There's a scrimmage this Saturday. If you're really jonesing for some Tornado football, you can head on out to Brevard Memorial Stadium and see a controlled scrimmage with the Tornadoes taking on a team from Virginia. That's at noon. But then the real deal, the opener on Saturday, September 14th, 1 p.m. versus Apprentice. And that's also the date of men's soccer's home opener, which is 3 p.m. versus Covenant at Ives Lamel Family Field. Check out Facebook Live this coming Thursday at 2 p.m. Also, we'll have a special edition of Tornado Talk with the aforementioned Coach El Dana, as well as Juan Mascaro Jr., the associate head coach. I know he's chomping at the bit to get on some Tornado Talk discussion. I do want to thank all of our guests tonight. We spoke to women's soccer captains Audrey Cardwell, Sally Riggin, and Hannah Weatherall. The coaching staff from women's soccer, head coach Juan Mascaro and assistant coaches Chelsea Shaughnessy and Ashley Hughes. Volleyball student athletes Sydney Fox and Mariana Rodriguez. USA South Commissioner Dr. Tom Hart, and Brevard College Athletic Director Miranda Nash. Want to thank all of our sponsors: Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and Dugan's Pub. One final housekeeping note. There will not be a Tornado Talk next week. It's Labor Day, but we'll be back here at Dugan's Pub on September 9th. I know head coach Bill Kyatt from football is looking forward to that one as his debut on this year's edition. Want to thank our guy Joseph Marvin for making everything sound and look good, and also thank Mike Christie from the USA South Conference for helping put together this coaches summit, and he is enjoying the Florida Gators defeat in the Miami Hurricanes this past weekend. He and I will have to go into some lengthy discussion about that following the show. Thanks again for tuning in. See you on September 9th back here at Dugan's Pub. Go Tornadoes.